Well, hey guys, welcome to Tactical Review. Welcome to my first solo live stream. Elias wasn't able to join me tonight, and so I'm doing this all by my onesie. So, um, looking over here in the chat and going to see if anybody joins us here. Go ahead and shout out in the chat. I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet tonight, but I do have my Black Rifle coffee going. So this is the AK-47 Espresso. It's pretty good. And anyway, let's get underway here. I see Petey over here in the chat. Hey, Pete. And the first thing that I want to talk about is something that several of you are aware of, some of you aren't, and that is YouTube's new live stream policy. And yeah, I'm probably going to start ranting about this a little bit. It's just incredibly asinine. So yesterday, I think it was, might have been 2 days ago. 2 days ago sounds right. YouTube released a new live stream policy where you are not allowed to handle, use, or transport firearms in a live stream. And it's just, it's stupid. It really is. Allegedly, this is to prevent YouTube live streaming from being used to live stream murders or mass shootings or something, and suddenly the murder rate dropped to 0. Congratulations, YouTube, you've saved us all. No, but seriously, they were really quick to point out, it's right in the terms of service that this doesn't pertain to video games. Now, I don't know. I'm not against video games. Some of you guys know that not only do I play video games, but first-person shooters are my preferred genre. It's not to say I don't play anything else. I have a Steam library of something in the neighborhood of 80 games, most of which, well, none of which do I have time to play. And, you know, I've got racing games and strategy games, turn-based and real-time. I've got some puzzle games, some survival horror stuff, but a lot of first-person shooters. And here's the thing. First-person shooters depict actual, like, you know, being-on-being violence, whether you're an alien or a guardian or, you know, whatever it is. And, yeah, so this depicts actual violence, but that's okay. However, if I would go back here and grab this AK-47 and want to hold it up and show you guys, in case you missed the Ronin P10 video, show you that red dot. No, that's not okay. My stream will get taken down, and eventually it'll result in channel strikes. I think I watched Hank Strange's video on the subject, and evidently YouTube powers that be told him a while back, because he does a lot of streams on his Lifestyles of the Locked and Loaded podcast, and they told him that at first they won't be issuing channel strikes, but eventually, yeah, they're going to. And it's just, it's asinine. It's absolutely asinine. I haven't seen 2AEDU check in yet, but that just completely destroys. Oh, hey, George Washington, thanks for joining us. Anyway, that just destroys 2AEDU's typical Friday stream. If you guys haven't had a chance to catch one of his streams, it's hanging out. He interacts with the chat. A lot of times he will say, hey, I got this week, or you know, or somebody will be talking about AK-47s, and he'll say, hey, you know, I've got kind of a unique AK-47, and he'll go off camera, he'll come back, and he'll show it to us, and he'll talk about what makes that particular one unique, and they've completely screwed up his Friday live stream. So if you are a fellow content creator, definitely make sure the writing's on the wall, guys. They're going to start with this, and pretty soon it's going to be that you can't even have firearms displayed. Well, probably what it'll go is that next you won't be able to depict the usage of firearms in a static video. And they might start that with live streams. Like right now, if I had range footage and it was obvious that it was pre-recorded, I could roll that in right now if I wanted to, and then come back, and that would be okay for the time being. But eventually, they're probably going to crack down on that, and then you won't be able to have any kind of shooting footage. You won't be able to have guns at all, and then next thing you know, you won't be able to have a gun in a stream or a video at all. So if you're a content creator, getting back to what I was saying, definitely make sure that you are leveraging other platforms. And you know, you guys, if you don't know, you guys can find me over at Gunstreamer, and right now everything is mirroring to Gunstreamer. I have a BitChute channel set up, and they are supposed to have live streams coming. So 2A, if you're not in the chat yet, but we can let 2A EDU know that BitChute has they do have live stream capability coming. It's just not there yet. BitChute isn't the friendliest platform for end users. I'm actually still trying to get my current video library over there, and yeah, George Washington, I do get off track a lot. I chase squirrels, if you will. So anyway, yeah, enough of that. I like YouTube for what it is. It's got good reach, but they're just getting way too political. I realize it's their sandbox, so if we want to play in it, we have to follow their rules. And you can't actually scream that they're violating our Second Amendment right, or our First Amendment rights, because the amendments constrain the government. They don't really constrain private citizens or private corporations. So I wish we could say it was a constitutional issue, but it's not. Elias and I actually were talking today. That's why in most of your dystopian future movies and books, the government is actually run by private corporate entities, and so they're not constrained then by the Constitution, and I'm afraid you might be coming to that. So, break the sandbox. Yeah, if I could, like I said, I think that the best solution is for us to vote with our money, if you will. The problem, and by that, our money is actually us using YouTube's platform so that there's ad revenue for Google to have. And hi, poor conservative, thanks for joining. And the thing is, though, is that the other platforms are just so far behind what YouTube is. YouTube is stupidly user simple. The hardest part of doing my first live stream with Elias had nothing to do with YouTube and with actually streaming, and it had to do with figuring out OBS Studio and getting my split screen set up the way I wanted and stuff. Where with BitChute, uploading a single video seems like it'd be pretty easy to upload it directly to the platform, but searches are a little cumbersome, and figuring out, like, BitChute has tools that are supposed to migrate an entire YouTube channel, but it doesn't. It seems like it's hung and it's not working, and I don't know. Where Gunstreamer, it was literally like 3 clicks and then it worked. So I don't know. But here's the thing: is if this was other rights, not gun rights, there would be all sorts of special interest groups all over this. Okay, let's say that YouTube said, you know what, when we have couples on a live stream together, it's perfectly fine to have couples, whether they're hetero or homo couples, and that's perfectly fine. But only heterosexual couples can show affection. Homosexual couples can be on camera together, but they can't show affection on a live stream, or it will result in channel strikes. Everybody would lose their mind. Absolutely everybody would lose their mind. But because it's, well, you know, you can show a gun and you can talk about guns, but you can't manipulate them. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to say the word again. It's asinine. Really good coffee. A little pricey. I took advantage of their mug mania, and kind of glad I did. I got a really cool coffee cup, you know. Got a scary picture on it. We like scary pictures, and then, you know, the Gadsden snake, except it's coffee or die. The streamer does nothing to. Yeah, you're right, poor conservative. You've got Gunstreamer that doesn't promote their platform, and then you've got Full 30. I have. When I actually uploaded my first videos back in May, I requested my channel on Full 30. So I've got a Full 30 account, and my channel request has been pending since May. I don't know. So BitChute right now seems to be the most open. And with any open platform, you know, people are complaining, well, there's hate speech, and there's this, and there's that, and there's the other thing. And that's the deal with freedom. Freedom is dangerous. We have to show constraint when we have freedom. And there's a quote that I've seen it floating around social media, and I really like it. And you can expand this to other things. And it says, to be peaceful, you must be capable of great violence. If you're not capable of great violence, you're not peaceful. You're harmless. Excuse me. And all freedoms are that way, okay? You have to be strong to be free. A weak-willed person doesn't want freedom because there's responsibility. So whether that's free speech, whether that's the right to bear arms, whatever it is, it requires a strength. So, yes, I prefer dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery, I think is how that goes. It's actually, Elias has that around his logo for Liberty Review in Latin because, you know, it's more scholarly that way. And the thing is, though, what I was saying, though, I do get off track a lot, George Washington. But it takes strength and perseverance, because for me to have my freedoms, I have to be tolerant of other people's freedoms, even when they abuse them. So with free speech, for me to be able to say what I want and show what I want, I have to tolerate the fact that some people might abuse that. For us to have our right to keep and bear arms, that does mean that sometimes bad people are going to exercise their rights in bad ways. the flip side is those bad people are going to exercise their rights in bad ways, regardless. So, okay, I want to move on. Otherwise, I'll just keep rehashing the same thing over and over because it makes me angry, and it makes me angry for our friend 2AEDU because I don't remember if it was something that he sent me in a DM or if it was part of the comment chain on Instagram, but he's not even sure that he wants to keep doing live streams because this so totally screws with the way he does his live streams. And another very prominent YouTuber, GunTuber, excuse me, I think that's an important distinction in this case, who I don't know if this channel has ever done a live stream. They release a lot of content, but I don't know that they ever do a live stream. And there was a video released yesterday or the day before basically saying, you know, YouTube has the best of intentions. And I don't necessarily disbelieve that they do have good intentions, but the problem is that doesn't make it okay. And so I actually left a fairly scathing comment on that video after I had some time to think about it and ruminate. And I don't want to alienate any of the gun channels. If we're pro 2A, we need to be pro 2A. And we need to stick together. And that doesn't matter if I'm an AR guy and you're an AK guy. We need to stick together because we're both gun guys. If I think I should be able to have a howitzer and you think that that's crazy and that I'm going to hurt people, okay, well that's between us. But our relationship between all of us and the government shall not be infringed. And we're right back to it's up to us to properly exercise our freedoms. So anyway, yes, united we stand, divided we fall. Or it's also been said, united, or we can either stand together or swing separately. You know, so, and it's fine if there's going to be people who don't like me, right? I get that. I'm not willing to jump on the bandwagon of saying that all police, all law enforcement are redcoats and death to the redcoats, and every individual law enforcement officer will make the choice whether he's after a paycheck or he stands for the Constitution, or she. We're all individuals, and we have to treat each situation that way. So I'm not looking to alienate them, but by the same token, just as if I say, I don't care if I give bad advice on my channel about, you know, a weapon for self-defense, and I give advice that legitimately might lead to somebody's death, I would want that called out. I would want that called out in my comments so that I could acknowledge it, maybe even take down the video. It's not a matter of policing one another. It's a matter of being a community, and as such, a brotherhood, if you will. And there's, you know, to get biblical, if you guys don't mind, we are our brother's keepers to an extent. If there's something that somebody's doing wrong, it's, hey, you know, I think you're wrong there. So anyway, I absolutely called out this much bigger channel, like several million subscribers, and the dominoes will fall where they fall. Poor conservative, that's fine. I'd rather you be a sheep dog, but I'm good with you having teeth. 2AEDU, hey man, thanks for joining us. I've mentioned you a few times, brother. I just am closing up the rant on the new YouTube policies, so I feel for you, man. I loved your live stream format, and yeah. Yeah, you might go back, and I'm not sure exactly how far, And it says we're about 20 minutes into this, so you might go back and catch a few minutes of talking about it. But anyway, so again, YouTube owns the sandbox, Google owns the sandbox, and they can tell us what the rules are. But let's talk a little bit about Virginia. Now that's a situation that is governed by a constitution. So we've talked, obviously, in Elias and I's live streams, we've talked about how Virginia actually has a stronger worded right to keep and bear arms in their constitution. So I am absolutely boggled. Since the last time we had a chance to speak, well, converse, the governor has made comments that seem to indicate that in order to aid in confiscation of banned items, that he's willing to cut communications and power to counties. Now, I've heard tell that might have been something that was said differently, and then that was the way the headline was worded. And that's absolutely possible, because we all know that the media will just grab a fraction of the truth to make a headline that that will grab attention. So take that with a grain of salt. Obviously, I wasn't privy to that conversation, but yeah, between saying that he is more than willing to activate the National Guard, I don't know. It could be saber rattling to a degree, but I would think that once again, out of, I think it's 94 or 95 counties in Virginia, some 87 have voted to one extent or another to become Second Amendment sanctuary counties. So you would think that any reasoning person would take one look at the map and say, you know, we need to back up, and they're not doing that. So hopefully it doesn't come to violence. I would definitely say, ladies and gentlemen of Virginia, you guys need to be starting to go through a process and maybe get some impeachment going on within your state government, because it's obvious that your elected representatives are not representing your interests. So, oh, 2A, you didn't get a notification. That could be, I was a little late in getting this live stream even set up. I think it was around 8:25, 8:30 that I actually set up the live stream. With it being around Christmas time, I had church activities and stuff, so I was a little busy. Sorry about that, guys. It's part of the reason that I throw something up on Instagram, is to give you guys an opportunity to possibly see what's going on. Speaking of Instagram, if you're not following the channel, there you go, Tactical Review 2019 at on Facebook and Insta. So feel free, give me a follow over there, and again, inside stuff, sneak peek things, whatever. And I'd appreciate a thumbs up on the live stream here. See what we can do about getting some gun content going on YouTube. So, okay, unrang and re-rang the bell. Yeah, I can see that. I can see how that would sometimes help. It's a computer. Excuse me. All right, task at hand. We touched a little bit on Virginia. I think that kind of gets us up to date on that. We'll head on down around the south. Georgia. I don't know that anybody in the chat is from Georgia, but you have Senate Bill 281. I think that so there was an assault weapons ban of some sort there that was introduced to committee. I don't think it's out of committee yet, but excuse me. But you might want to make sure to be calling and writing your representatives. I don't remember seeing any recent news. There's been some kerfluffle in Kentucky, but I don't think Kentucky has anything that's popped up on my radar recently. Out to the West Coast. Wow. That was the very last drink of espresso, and it was quite room temperature, and it wasn't bitter. Might be something to buying better coffee. I don't know. Anyway, out on the West Coast, Washington State, there is a petition to start the impeachment process of both the governor and the attorney general after their latest round of gun control attempts. So it's kind of refreshing to see the West Coast kind of trying to come back a little bit more towards center. So maybe some hope out there. I've got a friend out. Last I knew, he was out around Seattle, and he's a gun guy, but he's really left leaning in most of his ideology. But he's a gun guy, at least, if not fully pro 2A. And I know he said that there's some things that even were making him rather angry. So hopefully that'll go well. And while we're on the West Coast, just before I left, I have afternoon weight supervision, and just before I got out of the weight room today, I saw that there was a mass stabbing in Oregon. Now, Oregon, over the last few years, has introduced some pretty strict gun control measures. They've been working on becoming North California. Guys, I thought that all this gun control was supposed to stop violence because bad people only do bad things if they can get a gun, right? I know I'm preaching to the choir here. I know that you guys get it. But bad people are going to do bad things regardless. I mean, with a newspaper and a roll of tape, you can make a bludgeon that will absolutely kill somebody. Newspaper. Bad people are going to do bad things. So, if you know people who are trying to argue about how guns cause violence, there you go. Oregon, just a brand new example. A mass stabbing. Those words don't even seem to go together. Oh, 2A's got a good local coffee shop. Well, when we have the 2A EDU Midwest shoot in the spring, which we can't live stream now, obviously, we'll have to hit up the local coffee shop. Now, if you take me to a Starbucks, I don't know if we can still be friends. They're not 2A friendly, and I don't like their coffee. But anyway, let's see. Florida. Well, Florida. I haven't even talked about Florida yet. And M193 at 3,200 feet. I'm good with that. Mine would be if they come at me in my house with a knife. Depending on where I am in the house, it's going to be 30 caliber, and it'll either be 8 M3 out of that guy, or it'll be 762 by 35, 125 grain Fiocchi SST. I figured 30 caliber is a pretty good hole and an absolute take the FU out of anybody. So, oh yeah, yeah. 2A, I was not happy about Eric's decision to back YouTube. I don't know what he's thinking. Because as I said in my comment to him, oh, hi, Mateo. You're a little late, but that's okay. Anyway, as I said in my comments on that video saying, you know, YouTube's probably got the best intentions. He's got videos where he preaches about sticking together. He's the reason that I know about the 7N6 and M855 situation. You've talked about it. You talked about it on a couple of your live streams. But way back in one of his early gun gripes when Barry was still around, he talked. That's how I learned about that situation. So this is somebody who's always talking about how we have to stick together. If you don't like the scary black rifles, so be it. I don't understand. I don't. I've always been like a gun guy. Somebody says, "Hey, you want to shoot this?" Even if I was to have an opportunity to go and shoot with Matt from Demolition Ranch, and he handed me the 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum, or he handed me his 4570 government revolver, I know he hates shooting those because they hurt his wrist, and I'd still shoot it. If you hand me a gun, I'm going to shoot it at least once because I love guns. I always have. I've always been a kind of a gun nut. So I don't understand these people who are like, whoa, I'm for the 2A, but you don't need anything more than a shotgun. I don't understand it. Somebody handed me an M60 with a full belt, I'm making noise, boys. Anyway, yeah, Mateo, you're right. The thing with YouTube is they say that they are a platform, but they are showing themselves to be a publisher. And I think before too long, they're going to have to actually make a stance and say, okay, we're not a platform. We are a publisher, and that gives us the right to say this and not this. I mean, you know, and that's what they're doing. And personally, I think that if a crime, number one, they just need to have the stance that you're not allowed to commit a crime of any kind on camera on their platform. Okay, fine. Excuse me. And if you do commit a crime, they should absolutely, I think, archive it for evidence for any investigation that there is, and then take it down. I would be okay with that. But this arbitrary, you know, oh, you can do this, you can't do this, or hey, it's fine for you to have this content and monetize it, and then X amount of time down the road they say, oh no, that's demonetized because it violates the terms and conditions. This whole, you know, changing horses in the middle of the stream, that's really aggravating. So anyway, now part of what you missed earlier, 2A, is just my recommendation for all content creators to make sure they have other platforms, and keep backups of your videos, guys. I have my storage drive that I use for my footage is a 3 terabyte drive, and then I've got online backup with Backblaze. If you guys want a referral code for Backblaze, let me know, and I can paste that, and we would both get a free month of service if you used it to sign up. But yeah, so even if my drive craps, I mean, I'd have to reach out to Backplays for that kind of restore, because it'd be huge. But I could get my content back. And so even if YouTube took down my whole channel, and there were videos that hadn't copied over to Gunstreamer, for instance, yet, I would still be able to re-upload those, because I have those locally. And it's just, yeah, it's a headache, because now I've got to maintain that. And that's part of the reason, 2A, I know you said earlier on Instagram that you don't like OBS Studio, and I'll get you that referral code, 2A. And like I say, I know you don't. OBS Studio, it's clunky. It does what it's supposed to, but it's not friendly. But the nice thing is it gives me a local recording while I'm streaming. So even if parts of the stream would drop out, I could actually upload the local copy and have a good copy. So anyway, here, let's see if I can multitask it all and pull up Backblaze. Sign in. Oh, sorry guys, I wasn't planning on doing this. It's just the way that the conversation went. Learning StreamYard last couple of days, yeah. Yeah, oh, and I see that the conversation over here is talking about 300 blackout versus 769 or 762 by 39. And guys, I have to say, if I would have thought it through, when I built my 300 blackout AR pistol, I would have spent more up front and purchased some sort of AK pistol, and yeah, because 7.62 by 3.9 is so much cheaper to shoot. And yeah, I wish I would have done that. And then 8M3 is actually a highly recommended defensive load, and it's 20 cents a round versus plinking ammo. Plinking ammo for 300 blackout, the cheapest I've found it is like 41 cents a round, and by the time you pay shipping, you're going to pay 50 cents a round, which isn't terrible, but it's not 20 cents a round, and that's 20 cents a round for defensive loads. And then the Fiocchi SST that I bought, and I've got a 7.5-inch barrel on my 300 pistol, so I specifically wanted supersonic stuff. And I do intend to suppress it eventually, but and that's just to save a little bit of hearing if I'd ever need it. Yeah, and that Fiocchi stuff was 75 cents a round, which 75 cents a round for defensive ammo. You know, I paid 50 or 60 cents a round for the last batch of Spear Gold Dot that I got. And I felt like that was a good price. So I don't entirely hate the fact that defensive ammo is 75 cents a round. It's the fact that plinking ammo is 50 cents. That the link I threw up for Backblaze is that referral link. If you sign up through that, like I said, you get a free month of service when you sign up for, I think for any, if it's recurring monthly, the best value is obviously to go for a longer, like I do 2 years at a time. Bolt face depth. Hey guys, on the KS47, get on, if you're on Facebook, get on the Palmetto State user group and the Palmetto State AR-15 user group. Zane Murica, he's also Texas 2A on YouTube. Click through my follow channels and you'll find him. I don't remember it exactly. But he has a KS47. He actually has some contacts at Palmetto State, and he had a recommendation on a replacement bolt that was a little bit stronger. So, for conservative, Backblaze is a computer backup software, and the reason I went with them is because they offer unlimited backup for their unlimited backup space. So like I currently have 3.5 or 4 terabytes total backed up with them. And then you can restore individual files, or you can do a bulk restore. And then there's a fee for it, but you can actually order up to a 4 terabyte external hard drive with your backup on it, and they will ship it to you. And a big part of the cost in that is the cost of the external hard drive and the shipping cost. So those are reasons I went with Backblaze. There's a lot of good backup companies out there, but I have a bunch of internal storage on my computer, and I wanted to be able to back it all up. So, Pete, I know we're talking about gun rights right now. Feelings on the impeachment. It's a bunch of smoke and mirrors. The Democrats have never been happy about Trump winning the election through the Electoral College, and they actually vowed from like the day that the election results came in that they would impeach him. So they're making up charges. I highly recommend, Pete, that you look up President Trump's letter to Representative Pelosi and read through that. It just sums up everything very nicely. Needs a Type 2 chamber. Okay, Mateo, I see what you're saying about bolt depth there. Pete, yes, it's a waste of something like $45 million of taxpayer money. Not to mention the fact that the whole time they've been pursuing this, they've done no lawmaking. 20-inch AR-15 musket. Oh, I haven't shot a 20-inch AR. Both of my ARs are 16, and I'd like to have a 20 and get that full velocity out of it. I think after SHOT Show, which I'm not going to SHOT Show because I'm not a big timer, I would like to have. I'd like to do a What Would Stoner Do build. If you're not familiar with that, it's on InRange TV. Ian and Carl use modern materials to replicate what they felt like was Eugene Stoner's original intention with the AR-15. They don't have a playlist, so you do have to scroll through their stuff. It started about 2 years ago, so you've got to go back and dig through. Really interesting stuff, and they've partnered with KE Precision, KE Enterprises something, and they are actually doing the parts for this that they're going to sell through Brownell. So I'm really interested in that. So, okay. Try to get back on track here. So we were getting to Florida, and we kind of got talking to. Actually, it kind of goes back together because I see a couple of you guys talking about. Excuse me. Ooh, 2A. I might take you up on that. We're going to get together and shoot, brother. So, yeah, I'd be interested in that. And actually, we're going to talk red dots here in a little bit. And so I've got some thoughts on that. So we'll kind of get back around to that. But yeah, anyway, military. So military, seeing some of you guys talking about serving. And I thank you so much for your service, guys. I've got a lot of friends and family who served, and I thought about it at one point, and I never did, and I constantly wonder whether I should have. So the whole thing in Pensacola, I actually found out I didn't realize. I talked about here a couple months back that I had an opportunity to go shooting with a young man who graduated recently and then has joined the Marine Corps. He was at the naval base in Pensacola here a couple weeks back when that shooting happened. And I agree with every one of you guys that I've talked to that it's a bunch of crap, that we'll send you to other countries and we trust you so much with firearms, but you're not allowed to be armed in any way, shape, or form under penalty of court-martial on base. It was absolute garbage that the local sheriff's department had to come in and do what those naval officers and Marines, or those soldiers, they're soldiers, what they were trained to do, the local sheriff's department had to come in and do for them, because not allowed to carry on base, and it's aggravating. The loss of life sickens me. Yeah, I don't know. Get off of that. I was going to talk about the situation with the UPS driver who was taken hostage, and I don't know. I talked to one of the other coaches at the school. Yeah, full auto, explosive ordinances, but you can't defend yourself if you're not. You can't be trusted around other soldiers on base. I don't know. It's asinine. My brother-in-law served in the Marine Corps, and I was talking to him about that the Sunday after it happened, and he's like, as a Marine, I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed that they weren't allowed to do their job and protect themselves. So, anyway, the UPS driver situation. I had an opportunity to talk to one of our other coaches who happens to, for his day job, work for the state police. And yeah, he made a good point that the police are going to be raked over the coals for that situation with the UPS driver. And as much as I respect our law enforcement, but any one of us who, as a good Samaritan, would have tried to stop that situation would have been held to an absolute standard of marksmanship. We are. I've talked about that before. I like the way James Reeves, I think it's James Reeves of TFB TV, says it, that there's a lawyer attached to every bullet that leaves our weapon. And yeah, it's I just, from the footage that I saw, I'm flabbergasted. I can't imagine exchanging fire with somebody and using an occupied vehicle as concealment. without at least pulling the occupants out and pancaking them on the tarmac and saying, stay down. I don't know. And it's easy to play armchair quarterback. I understand. I understand that. I wasn't there. I wasn't in the situation. I've been fortunate. I've never been on a two-way range. The closest to violence I've been in my adult life wasn't close to violence. I've had a vehicle broken into, and I've had a home broken into, both times when I was not present. But it doesn't change the fact that there is a standard to be held, and everybody needs to understand that we're all held to that standard. Okay, I'm going to move on from that unless I'll give a couple minutes. I know that there's a lag between when I actually say things and when you guys have a chance to hear it and then put it up in chat. But anyway, I kind of want to move away from that. I don't want... I'm not a bootlicker, but I'm not anti-police. Once again, there's good ones, there's bad ones. The ones that I know are good ones, and of course part of that is living out in the county. I deal with sheriffs and sheriff's deputies, so I've got an elected official running the department, and he's a really good guy. So that might change my outlook. I want to move on from that and let you guys know I got a new something. It actually just came in yesterday. The most expensive optic I have purchased today, and I can show this on the stream because it's not connected to anything yet. So look at this expensive logo right here. Never would have thought that I would spend EOTech money, but let me tell you how this came about. I follow Mike, Mr. Guns and Gear, on Facebook. Yeah, I started a YouTube channel back in May, and I don't know that I've watched much of anything besides YouTube and The Mandalorian since May. You guys are bad influence. No. So anyway, so I talk about a lot of the YouTubers because that's who I watch. But anyway, he posted the other day, Academy Sports was selling the EOTech 512 A65 for $309. Now, unfortunately, I checked, as of yesterday, they're out of stock and they haven't restocked. I'm sorry. But EOTech is running a $50 mail-in rebate on the entire 512 line through the end of the year. So that's the 512 A65. This one I've got right here, and the 512 crossbow version. So if you're a crossbow hunter and you're wanting a reflex type optic for it, you can get that, and you can get that $50 mail-in rebate. I don't think there's any restriction on where you buy it, as long as you're buying it new, your proof of purchase, blah blah blah. So anyway, yeah, I ended up, and Mateo, couldn't see yourself buying an EOTech, and that's definitely where I was. Right now, we're going back to talking about house guns. I have a Strike Eagle 1-6 power on my home defense weapon. And the plan was, because you can use a 1-6 power basically like a red dot. And what I found is that use it after you're behind it, that's fine. And you can still shoot using the bend-in aiming principle and all that. You keep both eyes open, the picture superimposes. But the problem is that if you're offset, you might be able to see that etched reticle in the Strike Eagle. And so it'll still superimpose, but you're not going to hit where it's lined up. And, you know, if I'm going to take it out hunting, I can see maybe putting that back on. Oh no, that 2A EDU, that's a garbage channel, guys. What are you guys talking about? No, I'm playing, man. I love your channel. I hope that you still do live streams. I don't know how you're going to format that, and I'm not trying to twist a knife in the wound, but I look forward to my Friday nights with the live chat and you know, with what you go through. Anyway, so I ended up not counting government theft. By the time the dust settles, Mateo, this is going to be a $280 optic. I wouldn't have picked one up for the like $450 normal retail price, but at $280, yeah, absolutely. Now my one complaint was you know, with normal retail being $450, you'd think that they would include some good batteries, right? I mean, they're name brand, but they threw in Energizer alkalines. It's not a question of if an alkaline battery is going to leak. The question is, when is the alkaline battery going to leak? And a leaking battery is going to void a warranty on any optic that it's in. It really made me angry that they couldn't need a couple dollars more cost to put in lithium batteries. So I've got a pack of Energizer Ultra Lithiums on the way before I mount this up, and so I'm going to be doing some zeroing videos anyway, and so yeah, I'm going to talk about I'll be taking out the AK because I still haven't zeroed that red dot, and then I will re-zero the house gun with the EOTech on it. And yeah, 2A, I love the fact that they've got Bible verses on all of the Trigicon optics. Most of the time, I was actually going to put a Trigicon on my Glock. I think I talked about that. And guys I really trust said that the Holosun was good to go, so I did decide to save that $150. Speaking of Holosun, if for anybody who likes that 65 MOA circle dot reticle, the Holosun 510C has that same reticle, and honestly, if this wasn't on sale, I probably would have gone with the 510C. It has shake to wake, it has solar backup, up to 50,000 hours of battery life, and it uses a CR2032 battery. So a lot of good going for that. And what I didn't realize Trigicon was in Michigan. Yeah, 2A. Let's wait till it warms up though, okay? Like ideally 60 plus degrees. You good with that? I'll go out to the range when it's colder than that, but I don't like it. We get nice weather, and I like being at the range. I'll go and spend hundreds of dollars in ammunition. So, yes, the Holosun 407 and 507 Mateo are RMR pattern. So I just purchased a Brownells RMR cut slide. That way I wasn't without my sidearm while I was having a slide mode, and yep, just boom. So, okay, so I've talked about zeroing. I've showed you guys the new EOTech. I'm excited about having an optic that's one of those that people really recommend. And I know that EOTech had some issues with not holding zero in temperature extremes, and more importantly, trying to hide that, and it put our guys and gals in uniform in harm's way. That said, a lot of um, a lot of military guys still swear by EOTech. So, oh, 2A, I'm still going to the range, but yeah, okay. Ray's probably tough. Look, girls are tougher than guys a lot of times, right? I get a cold and it's the end of the world. Like, I'm dying. My wife had 4 children. Okay, I couldn't have done that. Oh, burst. Yeah, the other thing, Mateo, with the slide cuts is a lot of guys still are saying that they don't feel like Vortex has proven themselves. And I realize that somebody's got to be the one who uses Vortex in order for it to be proven. But right now, you know, if it's on my carry pistol, that's not where I won't be the one doing it. Yeah, that's, you know, I will put cheap optics on guns that aren't primarily life and liberty guns. All right, I've got right back there is that Terminus Optics. You know, and so far, I'd still get an A-zone hit with it, but I wouldn't carry it into war. You know what I'm saying? Seen Vortexes crap the bed? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, that's what I heard. I'm on the regular guy training Facebook group too, and there's some elitism there, but they're guys who they take the defensive stuff super serious. You'll get kicked from the group for recommending things that get people dead. So, you know. Anyway, and like I said, this one right here might be a perfectly serviceable optic, or I could have the only good one that's ever going to be made. And until I have thousands of rounds behind it, you know. All right, well, I'm kind of looking here at chat. It's 10 o'clock and it's a work night, so well, it's 10 o'clock where I am. I don't know about you guys. Anything you guys want to talk about? Let me go back here through the chat, see if I missed anything. 2A is like Christopher. The Bumble. Poor conservative. 2A is not the Bumble. He's Yukon Cornelius. You know, Yukon Cornelius was a straight operator. He inserted via dog sled. He had the, you know, the facial hair going on. He took care of the terrorists terrorizing the local population. Yeah, Yukon Cornelius was like Spec Ops. I mean, maybe even Spetsnaz. You just, you know. Actually, yeah, like Siberian Spetsnaz. He went over the edge of the cliff, and he was fine with it because he knew that he could just, like, land in the deep snow when parachute silk was lacking. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. All right. Well, guys, thanks so much for joining tonight. Hey, if you guys want to help the channel out, I know money's tight for everybody, and it's, you know, it's Christmas time. But if you have an opportunity, maybe a little while later, and you want to help the channel out, you can do that over on Patreon at Patreon/Tactical Review. And definitely, once again, trying to get my stuff here. Make sure you're following us on Tactical Review 2019 at Facebook and Instagram. At least while gun channels and gun content are still allowed on those platforms. So anyway, yeah, I'm a little, once again, OBS Studio is a little clunky here. So, and 2A, yeah, I know that you're an operator, uh, and I've seen you shoot, and you're a pretty good hand with a pistol, and you shoot a lot of different pistols, and you're still lighting that steel up. So I'm not trading. I'm not trading rounds with you on the two-way range. Not ever. Not ever. I'm gonna if no, not ever. So, all right, guys. Thanks for watching. And until next time, shoot straight, stay safe.